Hey ladies, good evening, Sunday Devos. I'm back, we're back. We get to connect with you again for another week. I'm looking forward to everything that God wants to release to us tonight. As always, if you're enjoying the series, then you can let me know in the comments or direct message us. You can DM us at Inspire Her Woman on Facebook and also on Instagram. You can follow us there if you're enjoying the Sunday Devo series. So tonight we're going to talk about counting on failure. I know that seems kind of peculiar, but what I love about the Psalms, we're going to read out of the Psalms tonight, and what I love about the Psalms is that they kind of go through every human emotion, everything you can think of that we feel when it comes to God, when it comes to our life, when it comes to things that we are going through. The Psalms really tackle all of those different things. And so there's a Psalm, we're gonna look at Psalm 73. And we're going to pick up in verse 25. And this particular psalm, this is something that you'll hear quoted a lot. If you're going to any churches or services, you've heard Psalm 73:25 a lot. But I want to actually get to Psalm 73, verse 26, because again, we're talking about counting on failure. So let's go there together. The book of Psalms, chapter 73, we're going to start in verse 25. So it says, "Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is none upon earth that I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." I just want to read that verse again, verse 26. "My flesh and my heart fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." I love this. I love this because David knew how to say things in such a raw way. He knew how to get to the heart of the issue with God. He didn't beat around the bush. He didn't sugarcoat things. He always told God exactly where he was at, exactly what he was feeling. And he had a knack for being able to explain the truth. I mean, this was Solomon's father after all. And we know Solomon to have been one of the greatest and wisest minds in history. So David had a way with words, and I love how he says, listen, my flesh and my heart, they're not going to hold up. There's a lot of things in our life, ladies, they're not going to hold up. Your emotions, the ups and downs, the things that are going on in your heart. At some point, one of those things is going to fail you. Your flesh, just humanity. Flesh represents humanity in this case. My human nature and my heart, they fail, because David knew something about disappointment. You're talking about a guy who, he's young, he's strong, he's popular, he's making it. He gets this word that he's going to be king. Then he gets brought into the king's palace. Life is good. He marries the king's daughter. Life is good. And then all of a sudden life is hell, basically. It's horrible. And everything that he loved and everything that he counted on became a disappointment. So this is a guy who knows about disappointment, and in the midst of this is able to recognize who is truly his strength. We can count on failure from our heart, from the people around you. I don't know who might have failed you. I'm not sure. I'm sure that there are many of you that are going to listen to this either now or later, and I'm sure that you could give me a grocery list in your messages of all the people that have either disappointed you or failed you. How about this? All the things that you have done in your life, the things that you've undertaken, because sometimes it's not about what people do or whether people disappoint us. Ladies, sometimes we disappoint ourselves. Sometimes we get back into that relationship that we know is no good, or sometimes we, we'll say things out of our mouths that we know are going to be destructive. We know that that's going to bring a sort of division. We'll do it anyway. Sometimes we drop out of things that we know we should have finished. We sometimes fail ourselves. Our hearts, our flesh, our sin nature, our human nature, those things are things that you can count on at some point in the game are going to let you down. But David understood something about God and the fact that his consistency was able to literally cover every failure. And I believe he was also saying that the consistency of God's strength ended up being a healing to the disappointment. He saw one thing after another fail. He literally had to run for his life for 20 years. A long time of hoping that God might turn the situation around for his good, and having to wait until it was the right season for God to turn it. And in all of that running and all of that disappointment, he recognized the true source of favor and strength and consistency and real substance. He's speaking about things that ultimately the bottom is going to fall out. We can't trust our emotions, ladies. We can't trust our humanity. What we have to trust in is the God on the inside of us is going to be consistent, is going to be strong, and how about this, is going to be able. And I believe that that understanding can be a healing for us, particularly as women. We are no strangers to disappointment. And God is literally trying to show us what is the substance of who he is and what to rely on, what to lean on, and what to count on. So we can count on failure, because failure, there's always going to be some measure of what you're doing or who you're counting on where there's going to be a gap somewhere. But God brings a consistent stream of strength, support, sustenance, and substance that we can rely on. And that is the place that we've got to get to in God. I always admire David. I admired him because I thought, God, how did he do that? How did he have so much trial and yet never waver in his belief in you? There's one of the Psalms that says, I would have lost hope unless I believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. How did he get to that place where no matter what he faced, whether he was facing death or lack or defeat or barrenness, he was able to see that God's faithfulness surpassed all of those things that he was dealing with right in his immediate circumstance and situation. That's a strength that God is trying to get us to, men and women, trying to get us to that particular place. And I believe in investing into that portion of yourself where you can see yourself grow in the area of relying on God, trusting God, leaning on God. And how about this, knowing who he is in your life? I'll end it on that tonight, that he understood God's place in his life was a pillar, and God's place in his life was strength. And so when all else failed, that's what he's saying, when everything else failed, I look to you. You are my portion. You are my portion. I look to you. You're my strength. And so that's important for us, especially as women, men too, important for us to really understand God's place and position in our life in respect to everything else that we might lean on, depend on, or count on. I hope that blessed some of you guys tonight. We are going through this journey together. So I hope to see you on the next one. I'll be back again next Sunday. Again, put it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Study that Psalm 73 this week and just let it encourage you. Come on, let it pour life into your soul this week. Don't give up. The strength of God is going to be your portion.